of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, so we have all of our members in attendance. Chris and Caitlin, Jim, and we have Bill on speakerphone. So we're all here. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
I don't have any.
Okay, if not, communications and public comment.
Don't see anyone on the screen and nobody here, so.
Okay, so review and approve the minutes from October 25th and November 7th. Looking at October 25th, does anyone have corrections?
Just a note here. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you have something?
I didn't know.
No.
Okay.
Well, there is at least one item, maybe a vote where she says the vote passed. And really, if there was a real vote and it was unanimous, she should say passed unanimously. I mean, you're supposed to give the
Right.
count. And it may be those instances where you're seeing no objection, I declare the vote passed, but she should write that out too.
Okay.
So that people know that, basically it's unanimous. Of course, if a vote is not unanimous, then you're supposed to, the minute taker is supposed to write down who voted unanimously.
Okay, so we'll get that changed to unanimously on that. First one, and I think those are the only ones on the first page, right? Yeah, it passes unanimously to go into executive session too. Okay. And the only other correction I had is on the second page. It's not projected enrollment for section 0, it's current enrollment. So that needs to be changed to current. So, anything else? If not, the minutes will be approved with the corrections for October 25th. All right, November 7th.
We had a parent and a community member that were in attendance, but I don't think they're listed on this attendance.
The parents,
We did not give a name.
because no, those parents were, only came for exec session. I mean, they weren't here at the beginning, we could add them.
Okay.
And for confidentiality, we left their names without putting, because they were here for executive session.
Only?
Okay. But I agree with you, they're not on there.
I didn't.
And again, at the bottom of that page, the renovation of the kitchen, get that corrected to unanimously. The other one is indicated unanimously. Okay. So those minutes, we'll accept those minutes and approve them with the correction. Reports, Superintendent, put CES Kitchen Upgrade on there just so that you could give us a upgrade on that along with anything else that you want to tell us.
So with the kitchen, we're still waiting on a quote from the plumbers. So we've gotten an electrician quote, we've got the quotes on the materials and the other work. So it was just a waiting on the plumber, and with Jim DeVell leaving, Harley's really been on top of this and been following through with it. And so that was on Friday. I just asked him, to give me an update of where we were. And so he said, that's what they were waiting on. And he expressed his own frustration with this, like, move, stop, and, but it's also one of the reasons we didn't do this as like one big project with an architect and everything like that. We wanted to do it so we could save a little bit of money, because it was going to be double the amount of money if we had a company do everything. And so that then creates like grabbing in different people. So Harley and I have a meeting coming up this week, and with me coming back, and so we should be pretty much all set to push everything up right here before Thanksgiving. Move forward with that.
So you're pushing it up to the state altogether?
For project approval, right. So that'll go up for project approval with the hope here is to start acquiring things. So we've already moved out to purchase we got approval from that for the state for the outside freezer. So there's going to be, just like we did at the high school, because that had a 9-month lead time on it. So we moved forward with that. And then we can also begin starting to purchasing these goods and getting them in the pipeline, just because it's we want to make sure that the way supplies work, that we got all the pieces coming in. But Harley's been assured by the vendor that they should all be ready to go. It's just a matter of getting the orders in.
Thank you. Anything else?
I can, let me just see if I can find it here. We sent a letter out just so the board is aware. We sent a letter out that went to our middle school community, just talking about the bullying and harassing, and that, there's been, obviously we experience it and we don't tolerate it, but we wanted to address it because we know it's kind of on everyone's radar. It's on our radar, but so we had sent that out. We felt like it was timely. I was going to try and get the board to be a part of it, but we just wanted to make you aware of it. So that letter went out this morning. So we're doing some things with an assembly that's going on there, just to address some of the things that we've noticed going on. We're working with the Greater Falls Community Justice Group. They've been coming in and working with our students and student council, and just looking to address issues and not get them to the point where we've seen at the high school where we hear that folks say, this happened in middle school and nothing got done, so we want to address it. And I think Mr. Bailey's been very proactive in doing that.
Is the restorative justice person, are they involved in that?
Yes, they are. Yeah. So Carrie Newton, who's the SU coordinator, has been very much involved in it. And then as we started, our whole plan was at the beginning of the school year that Carrie Newton would kind of be here at the opening of school and be part of that transition. And working with the Bill McHugh, who's the RP. He runs the RP.
He's the staff person.
He's the staff person on duty, yeah. So she's been working very closely with them, but also working with she's that bridge between the community justice, Greater Falls community justice. So she's been kind of working that. And we're with Kelly O'Ryan. We're looking at a couple other pieces. This is not just the middle school, we know it's the high school, so we're looking at how do we address things district-wide or SU-wide, but then also very specific, making sure we're addressing them for the middle school.
Thank you, Andy.
Sure.
Principals.
Laura and Carrie and Henry. So
let's let Henry go first, because I think he's got a conference he needs to be at a little later.
Yes. Hi, guys. I do. I'm attending via Zoom. I have a couple of parent conferences I have to attend at 6:15 and 6:45. So this is just easiest for me to duck out. So things are going, Andy kind of filled in a little bit here of what's been going on at the middle school on, the work we were doing with the Greater Falls, justice system there and what we're trying to put in place here at the middle school to stop some of the bullying and racism and stuff like that here with the kids here now. So then that way it doesn't obviously bridge to the high school or the Hope anyways. But a lot of other good things going on here in the building. One thing I want to highlight here is that every Friday we do our morning assembly in the auditorium. It lasts probably about 15 to 20 minutes. And one of the big things we do on Fridays are celebrations. And we like to celebrate all the students throughout the course of that week and all their academic achievements. And the list keeps growing and growing. So every Friday I've noticed, especially for the last 3 weeks, it would start off with, a half a dozen students. And now we're up to, 15 to 20 different students that we recognize every Friday, which is kind of a big deal and something to kind of look at and something I praise the kids for all their hard work. As I already mentioned, we had parent-teacher conferences today, a couple that are still going on till 7 o'clock tonight. Those slots filled up quickly, which was great. We offered that via Zoom and also in person. So it was kind of good to see all the parents today. And I had the opportunity for several hours to work the door downstairs and meet some of those parents that I haven't done up to this point. So on Friday, we had a number of band and choir members that attended the district music festival. 2 band members and 6 choir members to be exact. The kids work really hard here daily. We have a pretty good choir program going on right now and band as well. They're planning the winter concert that originally was going to take place in December, but we're going to be pushing that back till January or February. But kind of looking forward to resting and rebooting here and for all the kids to be doing the same and hit the ground running for the last few weeks before we head into winter break. So that's all I got.
Thank you, Henry. And your numbers are still at 243?
242.
242, okay, thank you. And I think you are going to give out to the board members a breakdown of that, and we'll look forward to that in the next few days.
Yeah, and thank you for Henry. I'd asked Henry for that. I just given he's stretched pretty thin and everything. I was going to take care of that and just didn't get to it. He sent it to me last week, or when I was on leave. So I should be able to break that down tomorrow and get that out to you guys.
Great, thank you. So the schedules for students.
It's a lot of attachments. I think we can put it all in one spreadsheet for you. So
thank you. Any other questions for Henry?
The other thing that on an ongoing basis is we like to get a feel for the attendance.
Yeah, I think that's included with that because of maybe being now we are a little behind on that, but we'll have that before.
But the attendance should be kind of a regular.
The attendance should be a regular basis, yes.
And that's a huge thing we've been talking about going forward here as we head towards the second trimester, December 5th, is trying to put in some incentives here to get the attendance up. That's a big goal of mine. It's something that I think is important to get all the kids in the building on a regular basis.
Right. Sounds like a good plan. Any other questions? Okay, if not, Laura, do you want to go next?
I would love to. Okay. Let's see. Our enrollment stands technically at 77, although we have 76 students in the building. One student has moved but has not quite enrolled at their new school. So we have 15 in our kindergarten, 14 in first grade, 17 in second grade, 15 in third grade, and 16 in fourth grade. On November 7th, the Lions Club came to SRES for the annual vision screening. Thank you to Nurse Jen Vaughn for coordinating this event and to the Lions Club for conducting the screenings. They produce a report that goes home with each student, and then families are able to follow up on those screenings. So it really is a valuable screening tool. On November 10th, our own Mr. Bill Morse, local veteran, visited Suxons River Elementary to share his experience of being in the Navy. Students asked lots and lots of questions, and we all learned something new. So thank you, Bill. On November 14th, I always say her name wrong, Ella Catamartori and Mr. Marty Gallagher of the Bellows Falls Rotary visited with our 4th grade class. And each 4th grader was gifted 7 books and a handmade, beautiful book bag as part of the Free to Read Every Day event. So a huge thank you to Ella and the Bellows Falls Rotary. On November 17th, the SRES safety team facilitated an options-based drill, and we walked as a school to one of our relocation sites so that staff and students alike were able to participate in what it should look and sound like should such a drill be necessary. The safety team was super impressed with how quick and efficient the drill went. We actually planned about 45 minutes and we were back in like 20. So it was great. And student behavior was exemplary. They did a fantastic job. Today, our safety team met to align our emergency operations plan with the FEMA checklist that Andy had provided. And by doing so, we were able to identify which parts of the plan needed additional information, and this will be the basis for future meetings. We made a tree of thanks again, and in our lobby, it is displayed and filled with leaves of gratitude. Each student and staff member wrote what they were thankful for on a leaf, and the display is really touching. As Henry shared, parent-teacher conferences were today. Most of our families attended and or scheduled the conference for a different day, so a big shout out to our families, and I will provide our participation rate in my next report. Our winter sports program is coming together. It's been a work in progress for sure, a little touch and go, but it is definitely coming together. And I'll be sending out some paperwork for families in the folders on Monday, November 28th. I did want to acknowledge the work of Deb Cardane, our Director of Instruction and Innovation. She is doing a ton of work that I am super impressed with, not just supporting teachers with phonological awareness during team meetings, but just how she is running our in-service days and the coordination of our in-service days. It's really outstanding. So shout out to Deb for that. Upcoming December 2nd, first trimester ends. December 13th will be our White Elephant sale. December 14th is early release day, and we'll be doing some school-based professional learning focused on the first dimension of teaching and learning, which is purpose. And specifically, we'll be focusing on writing, sharing, discussing, and assessing learning targets. And then lastly, December 21st is an early release day, and we will be having a special performance for students in the morning. Happy to take any questions that you may have.
Anybody questions? Laura, I have one. As far as the White Elephant sale, I know in your newsletter it said about sending things in. When do you need those by?
Well, the PTO will be setting up on the 12th in the late afternoon. So anytime before the 12th or even on the 12th would be fine.
Okay, great. That's a good thing to get out there for people in case you're looking for, basically newish type items, so that if you've got anything that's new or practically new, then, excellent condition. So the students can buy things for Christmas gifts for family. We do that at Sexenzer and at Central. So
yeah, and I will say that it is planned so that it is more of a gift giving and not necessarily for one holiday or another. We specifically planned it so that students that celebrate Hanukkah could also have gifts for family members. But thank you definitely for plugging that, the need for gently used items, Priscilla. I appreciate that.
Great, thank you. Anything else from anyone? Oh, and Bill said you're welcome. Okay, Carrie, thank you, Laura. Carrie?
Good evening. Thanks, Laura. Always hard to go last, but good at the same time. So you'll have some similar reports too, but I just want to start with Central has 142 students. We have 10 in preschool, which are actually not part of our 142. We have 32 in kindergarten, 29 in first grade, 19 in second, 34 in third, and 28 in fourth. And we too have been busy with parent-teacher conferences today. We thank you to all the families and staff involved. We do have a reminder that trimester 1 will close on December 2nd. Report cards will be going home on Friday, December 16th. We do want to say a big shout out today to the Bellows Falls Subway, who donated a 6-foot sub for our teachers and staff today. That was a great addition to their time. So we appreciate the support, and it was wonderful. And be sure to check them out in the square. Thank you, Subway. Also, thank you to Bill Morris and Ashley McCants. They came to CES and were discussing their knowledge as veterans. And so they discussed what it was like to be in the service and then took some questions and answers. And the students had a very good time at our Monday morning meeting. We really appreciate their support. We also want to thank the Rotary Club for the recent clothing donation. They have been working on some field trip assistance as well. So we'll be planning out some trips with them. And they are also hosting the Bellows Falls Follies as a fundraiser on Thursday, December 1st. So the doors will open at 6:30 and the show begins at 7:30. There's a silent auction and tickets are available at the Opera House website. So be sure to check it out and hopefully come support our community. We are also working on our small group interventions as part of our tiers 1 and 2 instruction. Teachers are taking small guided math and literacy groups, and then our interventionists are taking additional groups to support our students. As we get to the end of the first trimester, we'll review our student list and then make adjustments as necessary to these small groups. We too will have our shopping mall on Thursday, December 15th. So we thanks the folks that have already begun donating items, and then we're looking forward to any others. So similar to what Laura was saying, we will take them up through the 12th, maybe the 13th, as we get them ready for the 15th. So if you have any, please make them in the next 10 days or so. We really appreciate that. We also would like to thank the Nature Museum in Grafton and the Jane Moreno Purdy Fund for their assistance in getting our students to the museum. We're still working on a couple more classes going, but we were able to have second grade go recently, and that was fabulous. A huge shout out to Carrie Pickering and Kelly Green and the entire staff of CES. We brought back this year the cross grade level day on the Friday before the holiday for Thanksgiving. So students were grouped into 9 groups and broken up with students from all grade levels. So they worked on a lot of Thanksgiving activities, songs, and cards. It was fabulous and took a ton of work, and so we really appreciate their work on that. Later that afternoon, so we want to thank Peter Laurie. He coordinated our walking field trip to our place. We were making donations to our place. Our goal was to send them 300 items, and we were pleased to say that we got over 800 items for food and personal hygiene items. And a big shout out to Mr. G's too. They did a lot to donate. So it was a way to go for everybody. We really appreciate your support, and hopefully having some more Thanksgiving items for people who are local. We are working on the mobile dentist, so pretty soon you'll be getting a paperwork about that. After vacation, this holiday break, somebody from the North Star Clinic will be coming in to work with our students and send home papers for the mobile dentist, so be on the lookout if you wish to have your child's teeth cleaned at school. And then also I echo Laura's statements about Deb Cardane and the PD work. It has been great. We have another PD day tomorrow, so we thank families for your patience as we work on that. Today was the conferences, and then tomorrow is the PD day. And just finally, we wish you all a wonderful Thanksgiving and hope you have a great break with your family and friends. And any questions or comments?
Anything for Carrie? I think we're all set. And again, those items to carry for their shopping, it really helps for gifts at this time of year for families. So probably, as Laura said, mail items for fathers are probably a shorter supply than
correct
some of the others.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you. Anything we'll take for gently used and brand new is great. Thanks.
Welcome. Do we need the elementary ones for any of the rest of us? And how about for Henry? We might need him for one of the business items in the exec session. Do we need him?
I don't know if we need him. I mean,
okay.
But I mean, he's welcome to join it. I mean,
okay. So, Henry, if you are,
I know he has parents, so he may need to jump off
in between your conferences stuff. If you want to check back in and see where we're at and that kind of thing, that would be great. Okay?
Yep,
And
that sounds
Laura and Laura and Carrie, we will let you go and enjoy your conferences for the rest of the evening with your parents. And we definitely do need you for our budget meeting, which is the next meeting on the 5th. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for all the information. Okay, our next item is committees. Policies on there first. The policy committee met, and there will be a meeting set up for one time in December. We can get one to fit in. We are looking at one policy to approve tonight, and we reviewed the alcohol and drug policy and the class policy, our last one, and that will be posted very soon for people to look at, but it has not been posted yet. Finance. Chris, you're on the finance. Do you have anything to update us on that, or WASU
Well,
finance?
WASU approved its budget the last meeting last week, so that's great news. It's a good, solid budget, and will support the districts. And now we have, the way it works is assessments flow out of the SU budget into Rockingham. So we have to have that done to actually finalize the Rockingham. Plus some numbers from the state and a few other things to kind of drag it out, but
for a new member, there are certain functions that are centralized. So
Yeah.
there's
I need a little bit of an orientation as I'm getting used to this, so I appreciate it. Okay, so the assessments come from the overall,
right.
yeah, okay.
Right, so there are many functions that are centralized in central office, either for convenience and efficiency or by law, such as special ed and transportation, consolidated by law. So we're happy about that.
And we appreciate all the work that we did on that, Chris.
The gentleman sitting beside you did quite a bit.
And Jason's on that committee too. And Jason, I was on that committee, but it was a lot of good work.
Yeah, and I think Jim's
And Jim,
Jim
we're going to turn
Vecina's
it over
reports
to Jim.
are so easy to work with that it just makes it nice to kind of go through it. And I think as it takes a few years.
It is a lot of information to get up to speed on.
It is. But
There'll be a quiz next.
Yeah, next board meeting. But you'll
Next
see.
board meeting,
I'll get my tabs out.
Even though what initially looks kind of mind-boggling, you look at it and start to look and realize, oh yes, these are actually looking at the same thing, kind of three different ways.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have anything, Jim, to add.
And we're going to let
No.
him do his on here. We didn't put yours on as a separate because I wasn't sure
Just
where
wanna
we were
kinda
at because you were out
give
when we were
you
doing the budget, when we were doing the agenda.
a little bit of a report of where we begin to date.
Yeah, I have them.
Thank you.
I printed them out.
All right. So I think that, and I've divided this out by school. If you'd like to see it in a different format, having them all, because I thought of blending them all together. I don't know.
I think this is good. The way you have it.
Yeah.
It's management.
And I just looked at, for instance, on page 1 is the middle school, and I had talked with Henry about, the 3 items. You'll notice at the very bottom, it looks like he's got 210 to the good. And I pointed out to him there's 3 items. Line 44, which has 77,000 that hasn't been touched. And line 55 has roughly 40,000. And the one place that we've been short is line 61, the heating oil. So those are the only things that I highlighted. But it doesn't look that bad. So, and I do have, I don't.
I have one comment. We won't get into it today, but it's applicable to our budget discussion next time.
Yeah.
And that is, if you look at the teacher salary line, if you look at the total of what's been encumbered and what's been expended, it actually exceeds our budget number for next year. Now, I think our budget number for next year doesn't have the nurse salary in it, but so the obvious question is, why is that running so much above the budget? So,
and the only thing I can say is the 24 in the budgeting process is actual live linked data. Now, yes. Now, that's not to say, I mean, what could happen? I could miss somebody. Maybe there's a math teacher that isn't in there. But I tried to cull that all out to get it correct.
There are also probably some less expensive teachers. And
that could be.
That's part of it.
With retirements, that could be.
And I don't know, are all the positions filled? No.
But
that'll do it too.
Yeah.
But it begs the question on why this is so total.
And I do want to say, this is a crossover budget. Now, by that I mean this. I collect teacher salaries into this object code 5111. Now, I have to force that code because previous budget, they used they used a 5171. So, yeah, and you can find that if you look in the backup. Yeah. So, I will say this is a crossover linking budget, and the bottom line is correct, but it doesn't always connect as we would hope. Sorry, there's no easy way to do that. So I just will point out, I mean, I think Central has 483,000 to the good, and that's page 9. And I'm just looking at what I call a summary, object summary. And, you know, again, she's still very good on line 30. You'll see the contracted services is 89,000. And, you know, when you think about it, I mean, we've got one more month, and we'll be halfway. So it gives you some good indicators.
The contracted services, that's at least in part HCRS or regular ed portion of HCRS?
Regular ed portion, yes.
It's a lot of those.
So we just haven't been billed for.
It could be. That could very well be, Chris.
Every school is the same.
Ironically,
also, I'm not sure they were totally filled. I don't think they were.
Ironically, my comment on the middle school is kind of reverse on Central on line 3, which is we're 183,000 for the good, and that just doesn't seem like all the chicks are being made. But anyway, we'll sort that out. But
and it is tough because it frustrates everybody when you can't link it. Somebody said, "Well, Jesus, what is this data? I mean, is this crap data?" And it's really not. I mean, I'm doing the best that I can in crossing over, and I'm manipulating it by hand because the budget is what you put last year, but it doesn't align necessarily to the sum page. So try not to get frustrated. It's a lot. The principals are frustrated as well. And, you know, the only thing I can say is, I'm sorry. This is painful but necessary. All right, so Saxon's River. And again, if you look at Saxon's River on page 15, and you're 7,000 to the good, we will pick up a little bit on the unemployment, which is line 21, and we'll pick up line 25, some of the disability. So both of those will net to the good.
Similar comment on line 3. They're showing 43 over.
Yeah.
44. Again, that just doesn't.
Well,
But again, if there's retirements and stuff like that, and new staff and stuff.
the one thing you can be assured of, and that is to a degree, the 509,461, and I say that between the two objects, the 5111 and the 5171, those I kind of took together. I brought in the nurse, the guidance counselor, and someone else.
Principal.
Yes. So it should net out. The last page that I broke out was on page 21, and that is kind of the Bellows Falls assessment, you know, stuff. It's location 201. And so it has the assessment piece as well as the bond. And again, I think that what shows is 271,000 to the good. I think you're going to be fine on.
This, Jim, is there's nothing encumbered at this point. Is that encumbrance just not been made, or is it, are we done?
On the interest?
Yeah, on
No.
those two principal.
Hasn't been done.
Okay, so they just need to be encumbered.
Yes, that's correct.
And that's 269 of the 271 is the remaining debt service. So,
Yep.
And it should say Rockingham General Fund at the bottom, not preschool.
Thank you, Chris.
You had to stick something in for us to get.
I was coping it.
Thank you.
I have one, just I got a chance to review this today, and the principles are gone, but maybe Andy can, I don't know, the board has a strong feeling about this, but supplies and books have not been spent, or maybe there is some in the pipeline. I will say that Rockingham taxpayers have been very generous with supplies and books for students for decades. And but you're not buying supplies and books for next year, you're buying them for this year. So really all the supplies and books should be purchased very soon, like December.
Yeah, no.
And then just a few very perishable supplies still have to be, so, and teachers should have their lesson plans done for the, you know, the units should be all planned out, the supplies and the books should be bought. And
A lot has been, like, we've used grant funds to purchase a lot of things, so, but I would have to go break out to know why those supplies. And I think the middle school with the absence of administration has been part of it,
but I think, you know, I'm just one board member, but I think the board should later, you know, as we get into the early part of next year, January, freeze those lines.
Well, if they don't need them at this point, I think you're totally correct.
Exactly.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, so I think, you know, I think just letting the principals know that they should be making sure that people have what they need. I don't want to short anybody
Right.
what they want, but they shouldn't be buying stuff for next year or going on a shopping spree in May, which I've seen before.
And I'm afraid a lot of anything that's left will be going into the oil. I think that's.
Well, I figured those lines were all wrong. And I also wondering if even in the budget, Jim alluded to this, whether we've got enough in there yet for the oil, but who's to say?
It's interesting, when we met at Grafton, Hardy said, because I had jacked it up to 20,000, and he said, I don't think you're gonna have enough. And they put it at 30,000 for the little school. I don't know. I mean, that's a hard one to call because they say it's not going to go back down.
Well, we've got a price though, right?
We're at 4. We're locked at 4
For this year.
for this year. But some of the problem is how much did you have in the tanks?
Yeah.
And I always say this, it's expensive, but I always like to make sure those tanks are topped if you can afford it, because then you know where you're starting.
Here at the middle school, they also have the pellet boiler.
Yeah.
And has the cost of pellets reflected the same kinds of increases as oil?
I just bought pellets for my house.
I heard that they hadn't gone up that much.
They haven't gone up, I would say, in the same
Right,
jump.
Degree.
right.
And I'm, is it a pellet burp or is it a wood chip?
Well, it's pellet.
It's pellets
Here
here?
it's pellet. It's wood chipped in Westminster, but it's pellets here.
We can find out what that cost is, but I don't know what it's jumped.
Yeah.
But it's, my impression was that they hadn't gone up to the same extent as oil and gas, but
Right.
there was a while there, a couple of years ago, when the pellet boiler wasn't being used that much. The price of oil was down. They're having problems with the hopper, this and that, but I think those are straightened out now, so that we're using pellets as a primary.
That's my understanding.
This is the year.
Yeah, this is the usual.
So we could check on that, maybe see where we're at on that, that would be appreciated. Anything else on?
The only thing I want to say is early next week, we're going to start sending out the tuition invoices and getting those cleaned up. Revenues don't.
Nice to get it done in the right year this year. Thank you for all of that, for all your hard work.
I do have a question about the books and supplies. I know one of the meetings I listened to, and this is also just input by ear because it's something that I've worked on, but I believe Carrie had said that there were deliverables that were coming. Is that, I know that some of the work that Purdue's been doing is around phonological awareness, and so I know those are sometimes used for that. Is that something that came through a grant, or was that purchased?
So, yeah, we in fact, so principals texted me as you were asking questions, so they're still on, is we have been, they've been working with Deb and spending down the grant because we actually carried over almost $500,000 in title funds.
Okay.
And we're going to lose them if we don't use them this year. And part of that is because with ESSER and sounds horrible, you can't spend money that fast. I mean, and so we rolled over, we were given a buy. Usually you can only roll over 15% of your title funds. We were given a buy last year, given a buy again this year. And so we're trying to expend those funds buying decodables and supplies and whatnot and not hit the local budget. So that's, so that is a lot of what we're doing with those decodables and some things.
Which our taxpayers will be very appreciative of. So.
It fits in right with the reading, as you're saying. It's all the intervention we're doing, so it's we're school-wide. So.
Any other questions?
I would just add on, if we're at other,
We're still on.
We're still on budget.
Finance stuff. All set? Okay, go ahead, Jake, you have something.
Under the buildings and grounds, we're waiting on Molly Bannock at the WNESU to work on our building visits and assessments. And Andy has given us an update on all of the different ESSER-related projects that we hope to get funded for our Rockingham schools. But there's certainly more to do, but I think we've done, as far as our budget committee is concerned, our buildings and grounds committee is concerned, I think we've done as much as we can at this point.
Okay.
We just received, we had facility audits done by an engineering company, so we received those. We got, I asked them to do I got the middle school and the high school back first. And I've gotten Central, I haven't gotten Saxon's River. But I sent those off to Rick Schumann to look at, because we have an opportunity to look at them and make any corrections and send them back. So I'm waiting for those corrections from Rick, so we can send them back and then we can have a buildings around sharing them. What was really nice is they break out the next 10 years on when they think things should be replaced and done.
That's
so
nice.
like here at the middle school, one of the things they reflected is the parking lot in the back. It's not really a parking lot, but that area back there, and the need to for repaving, but also like water drainage and stuff like that. So they got into some real specifics, and some of the things we already had acknowledged and knew about, but then just preventative maintenance things so that we can kind of get that on. Like, so as we're looking at it, okay, we can put either funds aside here, or we got to move this up because this is going to go, type of thing. So
It's awesome.
yeah, it's a very in-depth report.
Thank you, Jim, for bringing that up. Yes, we're waiting for Molly to schedule the other half of the buildings.
Yep, and I think we just
Grounds is going to look at.
Westminster.
She was looking at possible dates, so hopefully soon, and then we can.
And she was just waiting for me to get back.
We didn't do Central
We didn't do Central, this
or
is Westminster.
Westminster, and then there's also that Westminster.
West.
Yeah, I think those were the three, because we did Graf Athens, we did the middle school, we did the high school.
In Saxon.
Okay. It's in one of the WNSU committees as well. It's looking at all of them. Okay, so we'll go on to, that was all of it for committees. Do we need Jim, or can we let Jim go home?
I would ask that we let him
Let him
go.
go. Thank you,
Very
Jim.
much.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
But the next one for the budget one, we definitely need you.
Okay.
So if you could plan that into your schedule for us. Okay, under new business for discussion and action, we kind of already discussed the letter, unless you've got anything else.
No.
Okay, so, and the new position, administrative support, we probably want to go back to executive session. Okay, so review and approve the policy. That's D3, responsible computer network and internet use. It was posted on October 14th, and it was approved at the SU level on Wednesday. So do we have a motion?
I'll move that we approve policy D3, responsible computer network internet use.
Thank you, Jim. Is there any discussion? Any questions? Bill, any question? No, thank you. Okay, so then we'll vote on that. Jim, how do you vote?
Aye. Oh, Jim.
Jim, how do you vote?
Aye.
Bill, how do you vote? Yes. Chris?
Yes.
And Caitlin?
Yes.
Sorry, and I vote yes. So that was unanimous. Put it on there so I can note that. Whole business, preliminary discussion. We kind of touched on teacher schedules, subjects, and attendance percentages. And Andy said he would get that out to us because that didn't get
Yeah,
finalized.
So I just have to pull it together so it's one report so that it's readable for you. And then as far as student assessment results, Deb Cardane actually had to leave for a medical reason today. That was unexpected, so I'll have to postpone her just as she's gotten her stuff together, but she's going to come in through the report.
Okay, so we will schedule that again for not for the 5th, but for.
But I'll have her get the stuff out to you ahead of time so that you have at least time to review it so that it's not just all brand new information at once. So
that would be wonderful. Thank you. Okay, we'll do director's comments before the executive session. So, Bill, do you have any comment that you want to share?
The only comment would be to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and just take a moment to realize how grateful or how lucky we are and how grateful we should be for what we take for granted. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Chris?
No, I don't. Just happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Caitlin?
I don't have any.
Jim?
I'm good.
Yeah, I would just say, especially with Thanksgiving coming up, please remember that it is a day of Thanksgiving and a day of thanks, and continue to do some kind of kindness for somebody each day. It will make our world a better place. And I just appreciate all of the board members for all they do. There's a lot of work that gets done, and they are well appreciated. Okay, so I would ask for a motion to go into executive session.
We'll go into executive session to discuss
Personnel matter.
personnel matter,
Contract.
anything else,
Contract.
and a contract matter.
Where pretty much-
Prior knowledge of which might place the district or the persons involved at a disadvantage, or something to that effect.
Anybody?
I think I'd have that one chapter like 20 years ago.
And who would you like to invite?
And we are waiting superintendent and I guess if the assistant
He's not here right
is
now.
available, he can go.
Okay. So Chris, give me motion to enter into executive session at 6:23 p.m. to discuss a personnel and a contract matter. Prior public knowledge could place the board and or the individuals at a disadvantage and invite administration and in hand middle school administration in particular. Okay, so we'll go into
You're out.
The board came out of executive session at 7:10, and there will be no action that's needed to be taken tonight. So I would set the next meeting for December 5th it'll be at 5:30 for a budget meeting. If there's anything that comes up else that we have to address, we'll hold a special meeting for the board earlier than that, starting a little earlier, but I'm looking at hopefully keeping that meeting total just to budget.
Is it 5:30 on the 5th?
At 5:30 on December 5th.
And that's going to be here?
At the middle school, yes. Seems to be an easy place to hold it.
Do you know if Jim is going to do an update to the November version of the budget that we have?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes, he is, but
I had a discussion with him.
I mean, I'll remind him also, but he's
Yes.
he's really good about getting those things out. But I'm
He
going
said
to.
yes, and he said he would be at the meeting also, so sorry for interrupting you again.
No. But I think that's.
Yeah, because if they're available ahead of time, I'll come down and pick it up, because it's tough to get it at the meeting.
And I had some things going through it, but we were supposed to get back to him, so I wanted to circle around and touch base with Jim again.
Okay.
Questions?
Okay, yeah, if there's any questions.
If he's going to do another iteration.
Send,
Yeah.
If he's not, then I don't need to.
Send questions to,
You can send them to.
me, so I'm aware as well.
Send them to me or send them to Jim directly. Just put your name
I'll
and
CC you in.
yeah.
Just CC
Well,
me.
of course, oh, you have to sign warrants and those functions.
Yeah, but I mean, if you have anything general that you feel that, I should be aware,
Okay.
that would be really good to do. Thank you, Chris.
You bet.
And, I just know he definitely said he was going to work on one next week and get out to us. So. Okay, so if there's nothing else, if there's no objection, I'm just going to call an adjournment at 7:13.
Great. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah.